All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into today's digital newscast. We have a big story that we are working on. Oh, looks like something is going on with the background here, but we're going to fix this in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to just introduce Barry. There's a lot of us behind here.
Yeah.
Let's move this on and go live outside. All right, this is live outside. This is Portland State University. So Portland State University is closed today because of protests last night. Barry, you were at those protests last night. Is this looking different than it did before?
Really, from what I saw last night, so just full disclosure, I was at the campus last night. We arrived around 10 p.m. And when we arrived initially, that was when we kind of first learned of this occupation of the library that is still ongoing. And when we arrived last night, there were maybe 2 or 3 dozen people sitting on the benches. It was a very calm atmosphere. Music wasn't even playing when we got there. But what we're seeing right now, this is even just maybe 1 degree more active. People are standing rather than sitting. It really was not a serious situation when we got there. But when we were walking around, we were kind of figuring out, okay, how close can we get to the library? Where can we set up? And this is more a logistical thing than rather than kind of what the statements that the protesters and demonstrators are trying to make. But when we got there, we were wondering, are they going to be friendly to media? Are they going to allow us to set up? And folks that we talked to were nice. They did politely say, you should keep a fair distance. Keep a little bit. We were on the opposite side of the park blocks from the library, and we could still see plenty of what was going on, but they certainly kind of didn't want us kind of setting up with a camera right in front of the building. And so right now this live look here is looks like we got our crowd back in the background.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
All
right, here we go. We're having some technical issues. I do apologize. Keep looking at this live bump compared to last night, Barry.
Yeah, this right here, it looks like a little bit more of the same. Things like the situation has continued since at least last night. That barricade, there's a lot of pallets, a lot of buckets, a lot of camping supplies. Now just kind of collecting around the Miller Library, which now, according to the protesters, has a different name, named after a Palestinian who was killed in the war in Gaza. And yeah, this is that orange. I'm wondering that orange fencing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that was there last night. But yeah, those sounds. If anything, this is growing as this demonstration continues and this occupation continues. But yeah, you'll notice if you walk around park blocks, you'll see every park bench, every tree. Just about everything around surrounding the library has some amount of graffiti or spray paint.
Yeah, and you can even see some of the graffiti out there. I mean, I see some of the graffiti on that bench saying "Power to the People."
Yep.
And Barry, I looked into what the protesters are demanding.
Yeah.
So they're demanding that the university, they want them to permanently cut all ties with Boeing. I thought that was something interesting because the university last week, they did say that they were going to stop getting gifts and grants from Boeing.
Yeah.
So they did kind of answer some of their demands there, but I guess wasn't enough for the protesters. They're still at the library.
Yeah, and it's trying to, at this point, you're absolutely right that the demand was very clear late last week that it was people out there wanted PSU to cut ties with Boeing because of Boeing's role or activity in Israel. And I actually printed out the from Friday. President Ankud actually wrote a letter to the community recognizing this demand. And I believe I'm trying to see the phrasing that she has because I believe she called it confusing and arbitrary is what she found is what her thoughts on those initial demands. But she did respect them and took an action. And she said PSU will host a forum in May, which is yet to be scheduled, about this issue when the PSU relationship with Boeing. It also will, for now, pause seeking or accepting any further gifts or grants from the company until they've had this debate and they have come to conclusions about a reasonable course of action. So now at this point, I've been looking on social media, different kind of Occupy PSU affiliated accounts. I don't know, full disclosure, I don't know who's running those accounts, but they've been posting numerous times in the past 48 hours since this kind of occupation and protest started. They've posted pictures from inside the library since the occupation has started. And from what I've seen, there was one post in particular that said PSU has still not cut ties with Boeing and Intel. That was the first time I'd ever seen the company Intel named, and like we said, the university did address and temporarily paused its relationship with Boeing. So at this point, for me at least, it's hard to gauge exactly what the demonstrators are seeking in this moment.
Yeah, because they want the university to demand a ceasefire in Gaza, and then another thing I saw for the university to stop selling Israeli-made merchandise on campus. That was another one I saw, but it looks like Boeing really is the big sticking point there.
Certainly, and you know that's Boeing is just a very notable company. I believe that there are buildings at PSU's campus that are that have affiliations or their names are of folks who have ties to Boeing. So it's certainly not it's a well-known, well-affiliated company here, so it's cutting all ties. It's like, okay, what does that mean exactly if it's anything beyond
not accepting gifts?
Gifts and grants, like
permanently cutting ties. What does that mean?
Some specificity from these protesters would certainly help us understand exactly what they're wanting.
And then Barry, I know last night there was a press conference with the Multnomah County DA. The mayor was there as well.
Yeah,
and they addressed,
a lot of folks for 11 p.m.
Yeah, I know. It was
not
a
every
lot
day
of people to get out late at night.
Not every day you get the mayor, the DA, the president of PSU, and the Portland police chief all talking live at 11 p.m. About this. But yeah, that was we threw out the rundown last night when we kind of found out that was happening, and that's when we kind of made the decision to move me to the campus. And we had our other reporter, Thunvi Varma, who was there all day, then going to the press conference. There's a whole lot going on, but yeah, that was basically what that was to sum it up. President Ann Cudd led the press conference, saying that she has recognized or tried to facilitate conversation and debate. She said that she went to the Saturday market this past Saturday on the PSU campus on the park blocks while the protest was happening, and that she spoke with the protesters, and that she wanted to kind of reach a reasonable conclusion through debate and conversation, and but it clearly at some point yesterday there a line was crossed when the demonstrators and protesters went inside the building and barricaded it, and they are not allowing anyone in. And so that from there, we've been seeing that the same message was kind of reiterated from Ann Cudd, Police Chief Bob Day, DA Mike Schmidt, and Mayor Ted Wheeler, that this has crossed into criminal territory, that there's property damage. The DA said that he will prosecute felony charges if there is evidence of it. And so there was some solid legal jargon in there, but it was some strong words from the DA for sure, along with the police chief saying that they. I think it was pretty clear that everyone speaking last night made a point of say that they prioritize and they care about First Amendment rights, they care about being able to protest, but that at this point, it's just gone too far.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just a big viewpoint that many people have, protecting free speech, but also weighing the criminal charges that people could face. And that is what I'm most interested to see if people do end up facing any charges. Yeah. Because different universities and different police agencies from all across the country, they've been all doing this differently. So I want to stop talking about or do you have something else?
Just the last kind of thought on this was just that it really, I can't help but just feel a moment of confusion over what the protesters and what demonstrators there are wanting. I'm curious how many of them are really affiliated with the university. I know that it's certainly at least a portion, but I just am, I have a lot of questions about what exactly they're seeking, who exactly is inside the library at this moment, and it just a basic reaction to, I feel like I haven't heard a genuine reaction from anyone in participating in this protest in terms of Ann Cudd's Friday letter that said we will pause all grants and all gifts and grants from Boeing, and we'll go from there. So it's a lot more questions than answers after yesterday's kind of escalation.
Yeah, and I know we've been trying to get in touch with some of the protesters in the library because those are great questions to find out who those people are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was told yesterday that they are not ready to. They don't want to talk to media yet.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
We can only try our best and try to get those questions answered. But we're working on that for you. I know the newsroom is working hard to get that done today. But I do want to move across the nation now, Barry. I'm going to pull up this video. This is out of New York. This is from last night. So this is Columbia University. You may have seen this already. They're smashing through one of the buildings there at Columbia University. So they smashed through some of the windows. This is at Hamilton Hall. the university is closed, Barry. Like, you can't even get onto the campus unless you are a student living there right now or you're an employee. And I mean, you can just see the damage from that.
And that is just can't help but compare that to the situation at PSU last night. People, this is that video and that scene at Columbia University is so intense, and just clearly it's objective criminal activity. And I know that with PSU, it's like there's writing on the walls, there's spray paint everywhere, there's furniture that's moved. The smashing and grabbing that appears to be happening, and just the scale of the encampment that's happening at Columbia University is certainly more intense than what we're seeing at Portland State. But it's really something to see.
And Columbia University, they're not going to be facing any charges just yet. No arrests have been made. The New York NYPD, they issued a statement just this morning, actually. They're not going to go into the building until Columbia says it's okay.
Sure.
Columbia does not want to get the NYPD involved and escalate the situation, but a lot of people are upset about that. There's a line of students waiting to get in. I mean, some students were saying that they can't access their meals on campus.
Yeah, and that's crazy to imagine, just a campus shutting down for this demonstration with graduation coming up. I know that's going to impact a lot of folks, and I mean, I would imagine that would be kind of the point of the protest, is to disrupt as much as possible. And I know that, just to tie that kind of that whole incident and that all that happening back here to Portland, I don't know a lot about what's going on at Columbia or details. Obviously, it's a long ways away, but here at Portland, I know that the Portland police said at 11 o'clock last night that they are preparing to move into PSU, and they warned everyone, get out of the library, like leave peacefully right now. It's like police are on their way. And from what I understand, it's 11 a.m., 12 hours later right now, and police have not gotten there. So I think that the posture that Portland and PSU officials are taking is certainly that of a kind and gentle posture, at least right now. They're saying, it's like, hey, you have demands, you're occupying space on campus, that's fine. We'll pause all gifts and grants. Let's have a forum, let's talk about this. It escalates to occupying the library, spray paint on the windows, spray paint around campus, and now we've got officials saying, okay, this is certainly criminal activity, you need to leave now, police are on their way. 12 hours later, haven't seen much. I'm just curious of the timeline of this, because it's certainly, they're not rushing anyone, it appears.
No, and it's interesting that you do bring that up, Barry, because a completely different situation at another school. So we're going to go now to North Carolina. They said the same thing. I believe it was 6 a.m. Eastern time, so 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
Let me just pull up this video over here. So, yeah, this is over at North Carolina. They told students that they had to be gone by 3 a.m. PT. This is 3 a.m. Pacific time. I mean, the police just went right out there. They cleared the encampment. It does get a little bit intense over there. There's a protester that is thrown to the floor at one point coming up. But I mean, every school, every police agency is, do you see that right there?
Yeah.
Just getting a little heated.
And from what and that's, that is it. I'm thankful that that's not the scene that we've seen here in Portland. Certainly the messaging that we've gotten from officials is different, but this kind of the police and the intensity of the police response around the country to different universities. I mean, it'll differ. It'll change depending on the university, kind of place by place. But I know that I've seen just reports of, like, at Indiana University, they're like in like police with stationed on rooftops with guns, kind of like at every day of the encampment. Like, there's certainly a lot of different universities are exercising a heavy hand when it comes to the responding to these protests and the posture of police as they either try to outright clear out protesters or as they just monitor them. Meanwhile, here at PSU, it feels just much softer hand. This is something that it's been allowed to it's been allowed to grow. It's been allowed to, they've been given space to demonstrate, and now that it's involved a building, clearly, like we said last night, Portland officials changing their tone on it and saying police are on their way, but it's still, so far, we've not seen any police presence, or at least that I'm aware of at this moment. We haven't seen any police presence beyond campus police at PSU. So
that's what we'll be looking for today, I guess.
Definitely want to see how this unfolds. I think over the next 12 to 36 hours will be a really telling time.
And I think you said it best earlier, Barry. Anything that gets the DA, the mayor, all these officials out at 11 p.m. on a Monday night, it's something that's pretty big.
Definitely
so we'll be tracking that for sure today.
Absolutely.
Barry, I want to talk about something completely different. We're going to talk about utilities right now because this is really important for Pacific Power customers out there. Pacific Power customers out there, you do have a chance to weigh in on the company's proposal to increase electricity rates. So their proposed hike is going to raise rates by over 21% for the average customer. According to Pacific Power, that's going to be an increase of about $30 a month. And a lot of utility companies have been seeing the same issue because of wildfire prevention. They've had to add some new technology as well, and their insurance premiums are going up. But Pacific Power says that while customers are going to see an increase, their rates are still lower than other large utilities on the West Coast, which I thought was an interesting way to say it, but here you go.
For customers, it matters what you're used to and how things change. Things changing quickly. It's if you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's not how does your bill compare to somebody in California. It's how does your bill compare to what you're used to in your last paycheck.
Yeah, so it doesn't compare as much, I guess, to California. You know, it is still lower than California, but we still do pay a lot for our electricity. These rates, though, they do still need to be approved by the Oregon Public Utility Commission. And yeah, the Oregon Public Utility Commission, they have a virtual event tonight on Zoom. It's going to go from 6 to 7. Important, that they're checking with the people and seeing is this something people out there can afford.
Absolutely. And I think that those kind of hearings and that kind of opportunity for public comment it really is hugely important. I know that before living in Portland, I was living in Oklahoma City, and utility rates was a huge topic of conversation there. And I haven't been to as many public utility commission meetings here in Oregon just yet, but I know that those public comment sessions really do matter. But I also know that the utilities explanation for the increase matters, and my understanding is that Pacific Power is kind of basing this in wildfire preparation, in an infrastructure investment, and kind of the usual reasons that you get for a utility increase. And it's definitely going to be it's an important debate to kind of contribute to if you can.
100%. And then if you do want to debate there, you can go online, KATU.com. We have a link to that. And then also you can submit written testimony until June 14th. Really important. Yeah. But luckily it is the time of year when we have to probably use the heat and the AC as little as possible. More
Windows
mild temperatures out there.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Yeah, I guess this is probably the best season. We're just starting to get into the best season ever, and
100%.
the best weather in the country. And so it's at some point, very quickly later in this year, that power bill is going to really matter. So.
Yeah, let's take a live look right now. I mean, Barry, it's not really nice per se, but rainy.
Smooth transition.
I know. I was
rain-covered lens.
Let's bring it. This is our call for meteorologist Sarah Bagby to talk about the rain. And yeah, Sarah, when it's going to go away, because we just want to see this rain go away.
All right, well, thanks, Barry. It's always nice to have people we haven't seen on Digicast.
I know. Thank you
nice
so much for speaking with us, Barry.
Happy to.
All right, so we don't blame the messenger, right?
No,
okay.
Don't blame the messenger, just the weather.
Well, yeah, yesterday, I reported the 7-day forecast, and I was like, it's going to rain all week, but then at least the weekend is looking good. That changed.
Oh, no. No. All right, let's pull it up so we can see those changes, Sarah.
Yeah. One thing I'll tell you is if you liked yesterday, you're going to love today. It's kind of a repeat where we have the thunderstorms, the hail, the sun breaks in the middle of some heavy rain, which brings out some rainbows. But then things are going to get less exciting. Tomorrow is May Day, so you'd think we'd have those spring showers, but we'll actually have a break on Wednesday. So tomorrow's our one little break, and then it may actually last to Thursday. It's looking like the system's going to stall for a bit, but we're still keeping temperatures chilly. Like they should be closer to 60, and we're going to stay cold today until tomorrow, and then we start warming things up. So as the clouds roll in on Thursday, they're going to start warming things up for us and hold in whatever sunshine we get, kind of like a blanket, and then we'll stay a little bit warmer into Friday. The bad news I was giving was that we're not going to have a whole lot of sunshine over the weekend. Yeah, and we were looking at temperatures of the 70, and it just another storm kind of blocked it and moved it out of the way. So sorry, we're going to have to just have more spring showers.
All right. Well, I guess brings Mayflowers.
Right.
So,
No,
there
it's a
we go.
good thing for many people. So I don't like to wear that unless I need to.
All right. I love these. I don't know why. I
You
just
look
think
cool
they're
in
fun.
them,
Yeah.
I'll admit. I just like them from the beginning or not at all.
All right, next story we're talking about. This is my favorite story that we have done here in a very long time.
Oh.
The lottery winner. I mean, this is, and the person,
It's so great.
it could not have gone to somebody better. It's just an amazing story. All right,
Right?
let's bring his picture up here.
It's one of those
Lottery
things where
winner.
you can't be bitter, even
I
though
know,
you didn't
I know,
win.
I
Like we
know.
all wanted to win. We're like, who got
I
our
know.
money? But
Just,
yeah, couldn't ask for
So
better.
that is the winner up there. That is, the winner is Cheng Saifan. He goes by Charlie as well. So
That's right.
Charlie up there, he says he prayed for this win, Sarah. He's going to use some of the money to rest and find a good doctor. He's actually battling cancer right now. So
Yeah, he's in chemo while he's accepting that check. He said he was actually undergoing it right then.
And
so.
it's sad though that in America, lottery winnings, he's thinking about using this for healthcare. But
Yeah.
amazing though that he's having the opportunity to do this.
Yeah.
He is a first generation Laos American man. And then his first move is going to be to buy his dream home in Oregon, which I thought
good.
was awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, he basically is saying, even if I pass it, I'm setting up my family. So his intent is all in the right place. But when you said he was praying for this, I remember the details, and I think you even covered the story this morning, Noelle, about how he actually wrote it down on a piece of paper. And this may be part of their culture, I don't know, with praying, but he put the piece of paper under his pillow for 2 weeks. So
Put that piece of paper under the fellowship, under there, I slept with it for 2 weeks, and then win it.
There you go. I just wanted to have it go just in time for when you were saying
Are
that.
you not going to do that from now on?
I
I'm going to do
think
that.
I'm
I'm going to go
going
research
to.
and find out all about that. But it obviously works.
Yeah, so writing the lottery numbers down, sleeping on it for 2 weeks. I mean, it's a
Whatever
smart
works,
idea
but
there.
Yeah, could not have gone to a better person. So congratulations to him.
And then, it was bought in a plaid pantry here in Portland. So shout out to Portland for selling the winning ticket.
That's right. And I guess the stores who sell them also get a little tiny chunk too. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Not out of his winnings, but kind of cool for the plaid pantry.
And the state of Oregon will be
That's
very
good,
happy with the
yeah.
tax dollars they're getting. So listen to this. All right, the jackpot was $1.3 billion. After taxes, he's only going to get $422 million. Now that is more than enough money you'll need, but it's still less than half
Right.
of the original jackpot.
And they chose the one payout,
The one
and they're
yep.
splitting it among three, his wife and a friend. Still so much.
Oh yeah, so much money. It's just the idea that you win the lottery and then you just get more than half taken out in taxes.
Yeah.
Must just be upsetting, but I'm sure he's fine. I'd be fine
think
with
he's fine with
millions
that.
of dollars. Well, he's also the first person to get all 5 lottery numbers plus the Powerball
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
incredible. Pretty neat.
So shout out to him. Glad we finally learned
Yeah,
about the lottery
me
winner. We were
too.
waiting for that winner for a while.
Yeah, we were all kind of hoping to hate the person, but nobody
No,
does. Everyone
it's
supports
impossible.
this one. Yep.
So today we are working on the big major story that we've been talking about all day, the protests of Portland State University. Protests are happening all across the country, but of course we're going to be focusing on that one in Portland. Shelby Slaughter is down there right now. She's trying to talk to students out there, and we're trying to talk to the protesters as well. So stay tuned for that. That'll be on at 4, 5, and 6 tonight. Have a great day.
This has been a KATU News Digicast. KATU News is on your side.